Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So this was the last week that we did and I messed it up. So we're swapping weeks. This was supposed to be the 10th through the 16th, but it wasn't. It was the 17th through the 22nd. So this is supposed to be the 17th through the 22nd, but it's not going to be. It's going to be the 10th through the 16th. Sorry. This is what happens when you're getting over being sick and your brain doesn't work very well. So hopefully this won't happen again. Ugh. All right, so we have the kit that I'm going to use this week from Scribble Prints, from Glam Planner. I told you my brain doesn't work. It has checked out on me and it decided that it no longer wants to cooperate. So here is the kit that I'm going to be using. Don't mind my sweatshirt if you see the weird stains on my sleeve. I don't know what they're from. I can guess nefarious things like blood, but I really don't know. And honestly, this is my workout sweater because I just went to the gym and I haven't taken my shower yet because I'm gross. But in the meantime, there's the kit that I'm using. And then of course all the little overlays because this is an older kit. This is last year. Should I go that way or this way? I think it goes this way. So yeah, this was last year's kits. She doesn't do these anymore. She now does the underlays instead of the overlays. Honestly, I kind of like the overlays better. But I look forward to having a pretty sparkly kit. And so I will go ahead and let you guys have my voiceover while I start my audiobook and sit here and happily plan quietly and by myself.
Hey guys, welcome to the voiceover portion. I spent this playing with me listening to River Enchanted, and I think I need to get better about making sure that my camera is filming correctly because I am missing a portion of my footage, and I don't know for sure if the camera turned off on me or if it died. And it just didn't capture the recording while it was dying because it was definitely dying and I was keeping an eye on it because I knew it was going to die soon and I didn't want it to die on me. But I'm missing like a chunk, the same chunk that I missed last time. And so all I can think is that my camera keeps turning off on me. I know it turns off like at 23 minutes, but all I can assume is that it's turning off a little early now, or I'm not catching when it turns off, or something, because I'm missing time here, which really frustrates me because I thought it was coming along quite cute, and now I'm missing like 2 days. The same 2 days I was missing before. But because I didn't have my pen on me, I do go back and write everything in. So we can definitely go over what happened. It just makes me very frustrated that I have been messing this up so bad lately. So not only have I missed a chunk, the Tuesday, Wednesday chunk for the last two, but they're swapped out and so the dates are wrong. It's very frustrating. My dum-dumness is very, very frustrating. So let's just hope for the best and maybe I can get my act together and stop doing that. Anyways, so like I said at the beginning, this is the 10th through the 16th, because my dum-dum butt decided to film the wrong one last week. And so now we're finishing off the wrong one, and I figured it was better than not doing it at all than doing it backwards. I don't know if you guys agree with me on that or not, but hopefully you do. And then on top of it all, I'm missing a chunk again. This time I did not turn it on and then turn it off and get the wrong portion. This time I was watching the battery and maybe I should stop listening to my books with my headphones on. I can easily listen to my books without my headphones on, but both times, this last week and the week before, or this week and the last week, whatever, the last two that I've done, words are hard. I had other people in the room, and so I didn't want them to have to listen to my book while I was planning because I like to zen out while I plan, and I've noticed it's so much easier to zen out when I have my headphones on, I'm listening to a good book. But I think I'm going to need to leave my headphones off because apparently I cannot hear it when it beeps. And so if it was an issue with my battery dying, then I know to not let it go all the way to the end. And if it is an issue of it turning off after 20 minutes, well, I'll have to keep my headphones off. That way I can hear it beep when it turns off. So one thing I really, really dislike about this particular camera is that it will do that. It will turn off after like 20 something minutes. And it's never the exact same time. It's between 20 and 25, which you never know exactly when it's going to go off, because I've had it go as long as 25 and I've had it go as short as 20. And I was looking at the time marker on this when it messed up, and it was right about that 20-minute mark. So I don't know if it was the dead battery, or if like the dead battery caused the camera not to film correctly, or if it was because it timed out on me. And I would kind of leaning towards the timeout, only because I figure if it was a battery thing, it probably would have cut off more than like 2 days. Anyways, I don't know. So this is a Glam planner kit from last year. I think it was like July of last year, 2022. I really like the overlays better than the underlays, just because it's sparklier, and I use too much of my boxes. So sometimes you can't even see the underlays at all. So I rather have the overlays. And I don't know if that was like a question that she asked the group that I missed or what, but I've noticed it recently, and I kind of want to be like, go on the group and see if it was something that I missed, if it was like a poll or something that she asked, because I like the overlays better. I think they're prettier. I like the sparkle better. I much rather have that sparkle than the under sparkle, unless she wants to pull a Scribble Prints and give us both. I mean, I'm not going to complain if she gives us both. But the more I plan with her newer kits, the more I realize that I like the layout of the older kits better. So I'm just going through and putting all of the overlays on. So I have all that pretty sparkle. I've also been trying to show you guys the midpoint and the end point by like, bringing it up so you guys can get a closer look at some of it. I don't know if it works very well, but I've noticed that some of the other planners that I like do that, and I always appreciate the sparkle factor. So that's what I've been trying to do, is to show you the sparkle factor. When I first started planning with these kits, I didn't even use the underlays or the overlays. So now I've got like this little pile of them that doesn't really fit with anything. Like the underlays I can use for anything, but I never remember to use the underlays because they're just miscellaneous ones that don't really fit, and they have weird colors. And if I had used them with the kits they came with, it would have been great. But I didn't do that because I was trying to save them. And then I realized belatedly, especially with Glam planners, they're specific to the kits. So I ended up going back through and trying to put the overlays onto the old ones, trying to figure out which ones goes with what. That didn't work so well. But over the last year and a half or so, I've been using all of them. And I think that my kits ended up being so much prettier having all the shimmer and sparkle and bougie boxes and whatever you call them. I also tried using a felt pen on top of the overlay, which I know that most pens don't work on that. It doesn't seem to be coming off just by being in contact with stuff. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to rub it really quick. And it doesn't look like it's coming off now. But something I was worried about when I first started was to wonder if that was going to be a problem. So I have both planners sitting next to me. I have the one that I do every night, and then I have this one that you're looking at right now. Because there's a little bit more information on the daily one. Like I have wake up times in here. I have little things like if I slept in, if I took the day off, that kind of stuff that I may not necessarily put into my main planner if there's not room, or if I don't have a way to write it in, right? Like I have one of these days we took another ferry ride and I didn't write it in. I was going to write it in, but I ended up not having it quite enough room and not sure how to like put it down. Do you guys know of any sticker creators that have like a ferry, like ferry boat, not ferry, sticker, because we take the ferry, but it's frequently enough where I want to be able to mark it down, because it's one of those like little guilty pleasures. Like if we're going to drive from here to Seattle, we can either take the ferry across or we can drive all the way around. The ferry is same time wise, and it ends up being more expensive because you have to pay for the ferry, but it's so much more enjoyable to go on the boats. I've always enjoyed it. So being on the ferries is one of my favorite things. And the ferries aren't super long, so we're talking like half hour tops. And I've always just enjoyed those rides. And so I want a sticker that I can put down. So, hey, look, we did it. We took a ferry ride. This particular week we got stuck trying to get home. So that was fun. I'll give you a little preview. On Saturday, we went to a strawberry festival, and it was on Vashon Island. And Vashon Island, there is no way to get on and off that island without being on the ferry. But the ferry that goes from the peninsula side to Vashon, and then it goes from Vashon to the Seattle side. And the ones that were going from the peninsula side to Vashon, from Vashon to the Seattle side, working fine. The side that was coming back from Vashon back to the peninsula side was not working. We had sat in that line for so long that we were seriously considering just taking the ferry to Seattle and then driving around, because it would have been less time than us sitting in the sun, exhausted from walking around at the Strawberry Festival and not being able to get home, because there's literally no way off this island but to take a ferry or swim, where most of the other islands have bridges that connect the island to the mainland. So if we're going to go over to like Port Townsend or something, there is a bridge that connects you up at the top, and there's some islands over there. I'm not sure how much of that's island and how much of it's just peninsula, if any or all of it connects. But Bainbridge is definitely an island, and there's a bridge that covers Bainbridge. And so to get to the Bainbridge ferry, you have to go over a bridge to get to Bainbridge Island, and then from Bainbridge Island you take a ferry over to Seattle. But this particular island doesn't have any bridges, and I'm not sure why that is, but it does irk me constantly that we sat there for like 2 hours waiting for the ferry that goes back to the peninsula. And there was a couple of times about an hour in that we're like, maybe we should just take the ferry to Seattle and then drive around, because it's going to take us less time. And then we ended up just not doing that. We ended up just waiting, but it probably would have been faster because we literally waited for 2 hours. And half the group ended up severely sunburnt, and we were all hungry and cranky by the end of the day. So that's just a little insight to my Saturday on this plan with me. Even though it's not something that I wrote down, I just wrote down what we did after the Strawberry Festival and then the Strawberry Festival. I wanted, of course, they're not in the right order. That happens to me a lot, though. I want to put them in chronological order during the day, and half the time I don't. Like, I don't write them in the right order to begin with. It's like, this is a good spot to put it. I need to get better about that. It's one of those little things that bothers me, that not everything is in perfect chronological order. Sometimes I put things where they will fit, which bothers me. Like my workouts, 9 times out of 10, unless it's a hike or something, it gets at the beginning of the day. I do put down like my finished books at the very end of the day, just because out of ease, not out of when I actually finish the book. Because there's some of them that I'll finish in the middle of the night. And there's some of them that I will finish first thing in the morning or during a shift or whatever. Like today I'm working on a book, and I didn't finish it today, but if I have another shift with that book, I guarantee I'll finish it during the middle of the shift, because there's not a lot left of it. There's just enough left where it's going to take me a couple of hours to listen to the rest of it. I'm getting scratchy already, and I've only been talking for like 15 minutes. This is great. But I'm feeling better. It's definitely taking a long time to recover from whatever this illness is. And there's just that little voice in the back of my head that goes, it's probably COVID. Your test was probably too old. Okay, so I am almost done with the base of this one. I'm just putting on the date headers and the words, the full boxes. I think these full boxes are so pretty, and I wish I'd had room for more of them, but I've got a lot left. So I'm really tempted to see if I have any cute washi that I can use and put it in my other planner. I forgot what the planner was called. It was the one that I hauled like 2 weeks ago. I actually hauled it a while ago. I hauled it at the beginning of August, like the first week of August, but the video didn't come out until like last week or the week before last. A couple weeks ago. I don't know. Time means nothing to me. My daughter swears I have ADHD, and I probably do because she does and my son does, and it's more hereditary on the mom side than the dad side, and I exhibit a lot of the same things my daughter does. She has so much fun showing me like people who have ADHD or autism or any of these other little things that she thinks that we might have as a family. And I'm like, oh, is that weird? Are we not supposed to do that? Are you sure that's not normal? And apparently there's a ton of these things that I do that aren't normal. And she's not sure if it's ADHD or if it's autism for me because females present so much differently than males do. And my son has autism. So, well, the doctor that tested him for it said that he is not clinically approved to give a definitive yes, but he passed the test in a way that says he has autism, which is stupid. Why even test him if you can't give the definitive yes or no? Okay, so all the base stickers are down, and I'm going to not write anything in at first because I forgot my pen on the other desk. So I'm sitting in my room right now, and it's a fairly good size room. And on one side of my bed is our computer desks with our computer monitors, my husband's actual tower, the little place that I put this computer, and a bunch of crap because I have to clean it off constantly. And from being sick, I've got like crackers and applesauce like leftover that I didn't eat, and I've got extra cups and it's a mess. I need to clean it. And then I have bookshelves in front of me, and then I have a desk on the other side, and the other side is right next to the window, and that way I have natural light when I do this. I also have my ring light on too because the natural light's just not quite enough to make it work. And I forgot what my point was. Wow, I am really good at this because I completely forgot my point. It's probably the ADHD talking. I had a point. Don't remember it. Cool. Awesome. It'll come back to me eventually. Whether or not I'm still talking to you guys is yet to be seen. Wow, look. It's blinding again. I don't know why it keeps doing that. We changed the background so that it would stop doing that, and it just doesn't. It still does it. It just doesn't do it as often. Like it would do it every single time I filmed before, and now it doesn't do it as often. Oh, that was my point. Oh, Jesus. I'm not writing anything in because I'm on one side of the room and my pen's on the other. So I figured I would go get it when my camera died. And that's when we had the problem where you're not going to see part of Tuesday and Wednesday because my camera dies. And somehow it didn't get recorded. Whether that was because I'm stupid and didn't realize the camera stopped recording, or if it just didn't record completely when it was super dead. I don't know. But either way, you will see me write everything in a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of start on this so you get a little bit of a head start. I can see it coming up though. So we have like 3 seconds left of the video before it cuts over to me writing everything in. But I'm going to go ahead and start on Monday. Oh, there we go. Look, you missed all of Tuesday and part of Wednesday. I'm sorry. I'm getting better. At least you see most of Wednesday, and you see me writing everything in. Okay, so let's start with sidebar. So, sidebar for dinners, we had chicken and rice because I am super weird about food, and I get into these like mesmerizing moments where all I want is the same food in some variation over and over again. And lately, it's been chicken with rice or mashed potatoes. One of the two. I will put veggies in it. I will season it differently. We'll use chicken sausage sometimes, but it's always the same. Some sort of chicken with either rice or potatoes and some sort of vegetable or corn, because I know corn's a grain, not a vegetable. So Monday we had chicken and rice. For Tuesday we had the Old Spaghetti Factory. The reason we did that was because my daughter wanted a fancy dinner out for her birthday, and her dad was not home for her birthday, and so she wanted to go out with me and her dad, and we happened to be out that day. And she was like, hey, it would be great is if we had our dinner out, which I thought was a good idea. So we had Old Spaghetti Factory, and then we had like a tuna helper casserole type thing on Wednesday. We had chicken and potatoes. On Thursday, we had pizza on Friday, and I didn't write down Saturday or Sunday, which is the biggest problem that I have because sometimes I don't eat dinner or I have grill dinner. And my husband asks me repeatedly, what would you eat for dinner if I was not home? And I've been honest and told him sometimes we don't eat. But that's not entirely true. Sometimes we don't eat meals. And then TikTok picked up grill dinner, and I thought it was the best thing in the entire world because it 100% explains what we do. We walk through the kitchen and we graze. Oh, look, that pickle looks good. I'm going to get a piece of cheese. I'm going to have a piece of taffy. I'm going to eat a couple crackers. And we just kind of peruse the kitchen for a little while, figure there's something to eat, and then go to bed. But we like literally snacked our way through the kitchen and then decided there was nothing good for an actual meal and left. So grill dinner rocks. And I don't write grill dinner down because then I forget what we had and I ask, hey, what did we eat for dinner? And everyone's like, I don't know. I also didn't use another habit tracker, so I'm not sure what we were doing, but I did start oil pulling again, which I still do most mornings, not every morning, because mornings like this morning when I had a super early morning shift, I just don't have the fortitude to get up earlier to do the oil pulling. And I've tried doing oil pulling when I'm tired first thing in the morning, and it always makes me feel sick. So I just don't do it on days that I have super early shifts. Or I can come home, wait 4 hours to eat, and then do the oil pulling, brush my teeth, and then eat. But it doesn't always work. So sometimes days like today, it just doesn't get done. So on Monday, I had an early morning shift from Flex. And then of course, early morning shift equals nap time. And then we did an at-home workout for about 25 minutes. And I finished the book Once Upon a Broken Heart. Side note, I did not like Caraval at all. But I really have been enjoying Once Upon a Broken Heart. All right, Tuesday, trying to catch up a little bit here because I am behind myself. I had another early morning shift, and then I did some YouTube work. I was working on editing my wrap up on my vlog. I also did another at-home workout, which was about 30 minutes. So like I said, we went out to dinner, me, Elise, and my husband. We went to the Old Spaghetti Factory for her birthday dinner, and we also went to the library and got new library cards. So now I have 5. I have 2 from California, 2 from Washington, and 1 that's military. And I adore all of my library cards. Actually, the Seattle one is the best. And because we are close to Seattle, we're in the same realm. They'll give us a library card even though we don't live in Seattle. We just had to go over there to get our library card verified, which we did, and got to look around at these tiny little libraries that have a lot of cool little aspects, but I just use all the online stuff. Let's be real here. I use Libby 24/7 for audiobooks because audiobooks are a good 75% of what I read. So we'll move on to Wednesday. Wednesday was a sleep-in day that I had off of work. Pat had duty, so he was not home all day long. I did some YouTube. I'd filmed my plan with me and a haul. It doesn't say what kind of haul. I'm assuming book. And then I also had to clean stuff. And I don't know what I cleaned because I did not write that down. After all the cleaning stuff, I had therapy, and Caleb came with me because he had prescriptions that he needed to pick up. And so we just knocked them both out at one time. It was also trash night. I don't know if it was recycling or not because I didn't write that down. I just wrote down trash. And then I finished another book. I finished The Ballad of Never After. Like I said, I didn't like Carvel, but I really liked the new trilogy, and I'm really, really hoping that I like the third component of it. Hopefully I won't have to re-listen to the first two when the third one comes out, because sometimes that happens where I just don't remember what happens. All right, and then we're going to go over to Thursday, which is where I'm at right now. So yay, we caught up. I do talk too fast sometimes, and I apologize for that, because then I get behind, because then I get on a tangent, and I really am wondering why I'm fighting my daughter on the whole ADHD thing. All right, so we started off the morning with a workout. I did 10 minutes on the elliptical and 30 minutes of weights. I want to do more of the elliptical, but I really don't like it. So I'm trying to find like a source of cardio that I like. Like one thing that I absolutely hate, but I know works really well is the rowing machine, but I really, really, really hate it. So I don't know. I used to like walking a lot, but then I get bored. There really is something wrong with me. Okay, and then after the workout, I put down a grocery run sticker, which is not up there yet because I don't plan in order. Why? Because I'm stupid. Also because I try to fit things in where they fit, and sometimes they don't fit correctly. Yeah, I'm awesome at that. But what's going to go down next is a grocery run. We went to Costco and Winco, which means it was a very expensive day. Why is Costco so expensive? I can't spend less than like $250, but I can easily spend $500. And when you spend $500 on food at Costco, it means all of your food for my entire budget for 2 weeks is coming out of there, and we have no food to eat. It's like, oh look, we have snacks and a rotisserie chicken. Woo! I'm trying to get better about that, but my daughter goes, it's never a good thing. We always end up spending way too much. And then Pat had a shift, but he didn't get any packages. And this is where it starts, which is bad. This is where the slump for Amazon began. Was on the 13th of July, which was supposed to be Prime Day stuff. But as we talked about last week, this thing goes on for another week. And we've been in a slump for shifts ever since then. So Pat tried to work, had no packages. I finished 2 more books. I finished Legends and Lattes because it's short and it's cute. And then a Psalms for Wild Built, which is amazing. I love that book so much. And I am not a sci-fi person. This was a little bit sci-fi, a little bit dystopian, a little bit fantasy. And I really, really liked it. And I want to check out more Becky Chambers books. But I don't really care for too much sci-fi. I have not figured out where my sci-fi is. Like, I'm listening to Cinder for my nightly book right now because that's one of my favorite series. Let's reread my favorite series while I'm at night trying to go to sleep at night. And I really, really like Cinder. I know Cinder qualifies as sci-fi. So are Becky Chambers' other books like that, or are they completely different? Like, I'm trying to figure out where my sci-fi niche is. I really should do a video on that. Like, here, let's try out some sci-fi books and figure out if I can figure out what I like in sci-fi and what I don't like in sci-fi. But that one was really good. I really, really liked it. It was really sweet. Both of them were very short books, and I adored them both. Okay, so Friday, which is where I'm at right now, is I worked, and my shift was supposed to be a 6:15 to 9:15. Got there, 0 packages. They sent me home. I do still get paid when that happens. If they cancel my shift, I get paid for it. If I go in, there's no packages and they cancel my shift, I get paid for it. If I cancel my shift, I do not get paid for it. So they canceled my shift. I got paid for it, but I did go there and try. I did have a nap afterwards because I was tired. Because I don't like getting up before 6. Getting up before 6 is mean. And then after my nap, we went to Walmart. So I put down buy food. Technically, it's Walmart. And Pat also had a 3-hour flex shift. It doesn't say whether or not his was canceled or not, so I'm going to say that it probably wasn't. But we were in that really weird, some of them were canceled, some of them weren't. It was really hit and miss. We had a couple of days where the morning shifts were getting canceled, but the evening shifts weren't getting canceled. And then the next week, everything was canceled. So this week was a lot of hit and miss, and then the next week was when everything was getting canceled. I didn't have anything else really to put in here, so I ended up just putting in some deco at the bottom, which I'll do at the end of the video. I did put in that I started tomorrow, but I haven't been writing those in here, and I don't know if I should. Should I be putting in my starts as well as my finishes, or just my finishes? Because some weeks I have a ton of finishes. Like this week I had 4 different books I finished. But other weeks I won't have any. And so like right now it's the 10th of September and I've only finished 2 books. Unless you count my rereads, and I finished Cinder this morning. So that's 3 books. But it's still not very much. So I'm not sure. So Saturday, this is the Strawberry Festival. We spent the majority of the day at the Strawberry Festival. It was really sad and pathetic, and we didn't really care for it too much, which makes me sad because the Blackberry Festival was last weekend and I didn't go. And I wanted to go, but I just didn't make it a priority because the Strawberry Festival sucked so bad. After we finally got back to our city, we did go do a couple of things. Like we went to the mall and we went to World Market because I was looking for flavored syrups for my tea because I love Dutch Bros, and Dutch Bros has all of these different flavored syrups that they can put in their teas to make them like taste really yummy. I kept thinking I could do that at home. So I've been buying flavored syrups, and I've already gone through a container and a half of peach and almost a full container of strawberry. And then I've got a bunch of other flavors that I've been just kind of playing with a little bit. But that's what I went to World Market for, was for flavored syrups. Then I went to Dick's because I was really curious about the Stanley Cups. Not because they are super hyped or super cute or any of that kind of stuff, but because everyone said the straw is a really nice size and it's very satisfying. So I wanted to try it out to see if it was actually as satisfying as everyone says it is. It's not. So I spent $45 on a water bottle that just not quite satisfying. And then we went to Winco and Sprouts for food. So I just put all the stores down. I actually used a checkbox for once. It's something I never do. All right, so the 16th was pretty simple, similar, whatever. My morning shift was canceled, so I did still get paid for it, like I said, but I didn't actually have to go. My evening shift, however, was not canceled, but it was huge. It's the highest paying shift I've ever gotten. It was $225, which equates to $50 an hour. And I don't know why it was so high. It was like they canceled all the morning shifts and then said, "Oh crap, we actually needed to have the morning shifts." So they like seriously spiked the evening shifts. So I took an evening shift because it was really spiked. It ended up being a 4.5-hour shift, and I didn't have a ton of packages, but I had to go really far, which is really normal for the 4.5-hour shifts. Is you end up in the Tules, or you end up in like Olympia, which is like a 2-hour drive. And then you have like 5 packages that are like an hour and a half apart each. It really sucks. But sometimes the money is so good, you really can't pass up trying for it. Because my morning shift was canceled, we did go to the gym. And we did 10 minutes on the elliptical and 28 minutes in weights, which is what I'm writing down right now. I was doing upper, lower, split type of days at the beginning. And then these days I was just doing kind of a mix where I was doing a little bit of everything. And now I'm back to something else. I don't know what I'm back to. I've been sick. So I just started working out again this week. And I did a lower day and an upper day. So I do want to write down more often what I'm doing because I am kind of curious to keep better track of what body parts I'm doing, when and where. I mean, my app does that, but I never go into my app unless I'm not at the gym. The last thing I'm doing right now is writing down was the Pat's duty days. If you don't know, my husband's in the Navy and he just got home from deployment at the beginning of July. And because he had just gotten home, everyone was taking leave. And when they take leave, you have to change the duty schedule. So he's got duty every 4 days. And when he has duty, he has to spend 24 hours on ship. He goes in at like 7 a.m. and he doesn't get off until 7 or 8 in the next morning, depending on what day of the week it is. So like if he has duty on a Sunday, he'll come home after work on Monday. If he has duty on like a Friday, then he'll come home the crack of dawn on Saturday. It just kind of depends. But then he already left again, so he's gone right now. Which means that I can get some reading done and some sewing done because he is a poo-poo head and always wants to go out and do stuff and be together. And when he does that, it means that I don't read or sew or do things that I actually enjoy. I know it's a nice thing to have your husband want to be with you, but blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'm just putting down some deco right now because I had a couple of blank spots. And honestly, I could have just put down that I started tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. But I didn't want to. I don't know why. I just didn't want to. All right, so that is the main plan with me. And I kind of just took out the part where I'm sorting everything and so you get a nice close look at everything again. And all the sparkly goodness. Her kits really are pretty, like 99% of the time. So I'm going to show you what's left of my kit really quick before I go back to me talking. And normally I'll talk through this part live instead of voiceover. I don't know why I'm not now. But you can see that I used quite a few boxes, but I still had a ton of full boxes left. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to put it in like my normal daily planner because I don't want to waste it. All right, so that's it for me, and I will talk to you guys soon.
All right, guys, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed, and sorry again that my dates were so off, but we'll go back to the correct dates next week. I have a bunch of these left over. I'm going to have to use them in one of my other planners because they're too pretty not to use, and this week was too busy to use them all. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you later.